We're gonna eat that?
A land where eating takes raw courage. Where lunch is buried 3 months underground. Dinner is stuffed into ox intestines.
What are you laughing?
And a coffee break is so long that you have to carbo load just to participate.
Back home, I don't think anyone has ever popped sorghum. The taste is awesome.
It's Ethiopia, where food can be scarce, but people are happy to share whatever they have with anybody and anything.
I've never seen a hyena in the wild before in my whole life.
I'm Andrew Zimmern, and this is Bizarre Foods. I'm a chef, writer, and culinary explorer who understands that what's common cuisine in one country can be an exotic edible in another. I believe that sharing food is the best way to experience other cultures. So I travel the world, sampling one tasty morsel at a time. For most people, Ethiopia is an undiscovered country. Foreign visitors are relatively scarce, and the only mental picture most of us have is of hungry people living in bleak surroundings. But this is no wasteland. The countryside is rugged, but beautiful. It's an ancient land whose royal family claimed to descend from King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. A proud country, one of the few in Africa that was never successfully colonized by outsiders. And it's produced the only African cuisine to become famous around the world. A communal cuisine, famous for using a bread called injera, or even just fingers, to share food from a common plate. I'll start exploring the country and its cuisine at a small village, then visit Africa's biggest market in Addis Ababa, before heading to the once forbidden city of Harar for coffee and dinner with a pack of hyenas. Get out into the countryside and you realize Ethiopia has a lot of fertile land. Hunger is a chronic problem, but its root cause is the government and the private sector's inability to distribute food to everyone who needs it, or to maximize the agrarian potential. So there are communities who've learned to get food from the most unlikely sources. Today, I'm going to see how this plant turns into a whole lot of food. Tia village is about 50 miles outside Ethiopia's capital of Addis Ababa. Its people are Gurage, one of the 8 ethnic groups making up most of Ethiopia's population. I've arrived with Mulligan Tamarat, one of my guides. A foreign visitor is a rare event here in this town, and I receive some special hospitality.
Are these
So these are the heads of the family, and these people are their neighbors.
Hello, very nice to meet you. About 200 villagers are on hand when I arrive, and I seem to get a personal welcome from every single one of them. Wow, that was a greeting. Like most places in the world, welcoming a guest means offering food and drinks. But it's the food here that interests me the most.
It's prepared from the false banana tree, which grows around this area. That's very important for the society because it's the main food. It's a stable food for the whole society.
They call the enset plant false banana because it looks just like a banana tree. But enset doesn't produce any edible fruit. So what makes it a major food source in Ethiopia? Well, as the saying goes, it takes a village. Men strip the leaves off the plant. Women strip off the broad leaves to get at the stalk in the center. The men peel away the layers of stalk, and the women shave those stalks down to a pile of fiber. This is mostly about food, but for the record, this plant provides building materials as well.
So after part of the edible piece of the branch is scraped away, what's left behind is this fiber, which is extremely strong. This is
very, very strong.
Unbreakable.
Yeah, we use it to make mats and ropes and sacks.
Before they're through, the villagers will cut up and use every single fragment of this plant.
And after they take down the leaves and after they unroot the plant, what do they do next?
Then they smash the root and they bury it in the hole there.
So the root goes back into the hole it came from. Then it takes an enormous amount of work to get every last shred of fiber out of it, and then to mash the fibers into a paste.
Now they're clapping and singing to both provide her with the energy and strength that's needed to pound this stuff for what's been over an hour now. And you can hear the bass beat and the chanting. It's how the world's first music started, call and response.
Now, when this work is done, the pulpy mass of fibers gets covered by layers of leaves and stones, and then they leave it to rot in the ground for 3 months. Here are the storage lockers for Enset that was stripped and pounded and buried long before I got here. Very long. I'm about to see what all those weeks underground does to Enset, and not just see it.
So this has been fermenting for 3 months.
Yeah.
Smells it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like cheese.
It is like cheese, isn't it? What's so funny?
It may seem strange, but it's a worldwide solution to preserving food without cans or freezers.
It's very common all over the world. Each one has its own particular nasty, horrible smell.
Yeah, it's one of them.
This is one of them.
But this one batch of stinky raw material will make 3 different kinds of food and make enough of it to give more than a dozen people 3 meals a day for the next 10 days. The transformation starts when the rotten Enset paste is washed, then dried. When it's dry, it turns into powder and looks very much like flour. Bake it, and it's bread. Add water and stir, and it's porridge. Add the Ethiopians' favorite mix of red-hot spices, berbere, and you can eat it just as it is. And this dish is called bula firfir.
All right, bula firfir. Cheers. If you took Limburger cheese, dried it out, turned it into a powder, and toasted it with herbs and spices, it's exactly what this would taste like. And because this is so starchy, when it's ground into a flour, it's like putting a spoonful of cornstarch into your mouth, and it just takes away all the moisture. The seasoning is great. That berbere and the green herbs. This is very good. Thank you very, very much. I love her. She's got the greatest laugh and the greatest smile. That is so... Oh, thank you.
If you take the same powder, add water until it thickens, and add some generous globs of butter, it makes a porridge they call mook.
Oh, see, it smells like that tastes. Okay, kind of speechless. The texture is very slippery. It's very slippery, and it's very strong tasting. It takes a lot to get used to. I think I took too much on my spoon. Wow, that's strong. Fermented and rotten foods that are made from plants that are buried in the ground, I've now decided, having tasted enough of them around the world, are much stronger and much harsher tasting than things like rotted meat. The plant stuff just gets a nastier flavor. You guys love this, don't you? It's like mother's milk, isn't it? Yeah, it's like a lollipop. Wow. Oh, God. Please explain to them. I'm not being rude, just my palate isn't used to foods like this. Yeah, it's the first time. Yeah.
Finally, there's the bread, called kocho. Sometimes wrapped in Enset leaves, sometimes not. It's very, very dense. One little slice feels like it weighs about a pound. All right, so this is cooked inside the leaf, and this is cooked outside the leaf.
Yeah.
See, much sweeter, with a very faint, spoiled taste. I like this. And this one, wow, look at that. It's like you could make shoes out of this. It's hardcore, it's sturdy.
Oh, wow. I like this even better.
Just to show what a huge deal it is to have visitors, the villagers have actually killed one of the few cows they own so they can make one of Ethiopia's prize dishes, kitfo. That's raw meat sautéed very quickly in butter and very hot spices.
Beefy. Very beefy, very fresh. It's a culture that takes a while to chew. See, you're going without the bread.
Yeah.
You're going right for that stuff. It's incredible.
People here may not taste meat more than once every few years, and after all they've shared with me, there's no way I'm not sharing too.
Thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful. I'm very, very honored. I'm really honored. Thank you, and thank you for bringing everyone together here. The kids, isn't anyone hungry? Don't you want to try? Don't you want to try some of this?
Come
here. Come here.
Now, we're demonstrating one of the most important things about Ethiopia's food and its people. One person's meal is everybody's meal.
Well, it takes a village to make some of this stuff. It takes a village to eat it, too. The eating part goes quicker. Thanks, everyone.
Up next, snacking in Africa's largest market.
Ooh, old raw goat with crunchy intestines in it. Wow.
And later, if you want the freshest meat, just look for the sign of the camel's head. The name Addis Ababa means new flower. The name and location of Ethiopia's capital was chosen by a king's consort about 100 years ago. Today, it's a massive urban sprawl, more than 150 square miles and almost 3 million people. It's marked by both Arab and European influences, but its personality is pure Ethiopian. I always recommend discovering a new place by visiting its biggest market.
The market in Addis Ababa isn't just big, it happens to be the most expansive open-air market in all of Africa. Ethiopians come from not only all over the city, but also all over the country to stock up on supplies for their daily life.
One look around confirms what most people know about Ethiopia. It's a very poor country, where a typical wage equals $120 per year. So you don't see a lot of variety in what's for sale here. Addis Ababa sits on a high plateau where they get a good share of cold, rainy days, and my market day was one of them. I have to be honest, the mercado, as they call it, is a place where yesterday's fresh food is still lingering around as today's garbage. You mix that with human and animal waste, add rainwater, and it becomes one of the foulest environments I've ever experienced. But this is a place where you can find the raw material of Ethiopian cooking. People here are masters of doing a lot with very little.
Pick your way through the mess. And who knows what you find? Ah, cheese.
Cheese is one of those common food ingredients, and the cheese here has a quality all its own.
This lady is selling ibe. Thank you. Ibe is a cow's milk cheese. It's similar to feta, not quite as sour. It's mixed into all kinds of foods here in Ethiopia. Tart, acidic, almost like really, really strong tasting yogurt, but crumbly. Wow, sour. This is nice cheese. Thank you.
In this country, there's no time and no resources to process simple food into anything fancy. You just get it straight from nature.
Wow. What do you got there? Who knows what this is? Oh, honey. Yeah. Wow. Raw, unfiltered honey. And look at how yellow that is. That's all the pollen. This is, you know, like a B12 shot right here. Wow. That honey is super sweet on the front and is incredibly bitter as it goes down your throat. I think it's got to be because of all the pollen and all the other stuff that's in there. It's the funkiest tasting honey I've ever tried in my whole life.
There's cheese, there's honey, but I'm just now getting to the two things that really make Ethiopian food what it is. First, it's the spices.
What's this? Kurema? Smells like rotten, moldy wood. Never seen these before. Wild ginger, garlic, onions, just about everything you need to stock the typical Ethiopian kitchen.
A hallmark of cooking here is a mix of spices called berbere. The main ingredient is a red pepper, and it ignites in your mouth like rocket fuel. Along with berbere, Ethiopians cook with huge amounts of spiced butter. Ethiopians typically melt this down to get rid of the water and cook with the remaining fat.
Thanks a lot. Oh, that is some nice butter. Ah, fresh hand-picked butter. Oh, and the butter here in Ethiopia obviously is cultured. It comes from milk that hasn't been pasteurized. And so it's sort of a cross between yogurt, cheese, and the butter that you're probably looking at in your fridge right now. This tastes kind of like a cross between Crisco and margarine, but fun to eat.
Once you get acquainted with their berbere and clarified butter, you can make yourself at home with most Ethiopian cooking. Stop in at most any little shop, and whatever they serve is usually laced with berbere and butter. Like this little hole in the wall near the market, where they're chopping up some of my favorite ingredients to make one of Ethiopia's favorite snacks, dulet.
Whoa! Well, the rain is back, and I've got my dulet. Now, dulet is another one of the famous Ethiopian raw meat concoctions that are so popular all over this country. This one is a mixture of raw goat or beef, and it's mixed with intestines and tripe that have been chopped up, and then it's quickly warmed in a pan with a little bit of butter. All right. My first taste of Ethiopian dulet. That is really rich. There's a lot of clarified fermented butter in there, and they've mixed this with a lot of berbere. There's a lot of pepper in here. And those intestines are a little raunchy. Tastes like the back end of the animal, if you know what I mean. There's a gaminess to this that's, I don't know, almost tastes like chewing raw tobacco. That's pretty hardcore. Wow. I'm not really sure about the second bite here. Oh. Dulet. Everybody loves it. You guys want to try some? Here. See, whoa. Here's the thing about Ethiopia. Sharing is very important. It's a big part of the hospitality. Anyway, hopefully next time it won't be as wet. And if you want to join the Clean Plate Club, you just invite a bunch of your friends.
Up next, down-home cooking Ethiopia style. It can be an acquired taste.
It's hard to eat. It's chunky and gristly and livery and gamey and old tasting.
And later, mystery miniature popcorn. The mystery is, there's no corn.
I'm telling you right now, this is going to be the next big thing after people see this.
This is the city of Harar, once the hub of East African trade, still revered by Muslims as one of the 4 holiest cities in the world. It's home to 91,000 people, has more than 90 mosques, and a surprisingly high number of bars and nightclubs. The most interesting part of town is the old walled city, a tangle of 360 alleyways packed into just 1 square mile. I'm finding my way around with help from our tour guide, Hailu Gashaw, who's taking me to a friend's house for lunch.
Hello. She's Alfia. Hello.
Andrew, very nice to meet you. Thank you for having us here.
Hailu's friend, Alifa Abdullahi, owns and operates a local hotel and restaurant, but this is a home-cooked meal. What's on the menu today?
The most interesting food in Harari tradition, this one is the best food, which they call wakalim.
Wikalim is ox intestine, stuffed with chopped goat organs and hung out to dry.
It tastes very nice.
Yeah, that looks really good.
In Ethiopia, anything to do with food usually turns into a community event. Alifa's friends, neighbors, and daughters all pitch in.
What are these?
It's called zuhuk.
Zahouk?
Zuhuk, yeah. It's made of wheat.
Wheat, yeah. Wow. That is so cool. She does it entirely by hand.
Yeah. Want to try to make this?
Sure. Oh my gosh.
This is much harder than it looks. Luckily, I've got lots of advisors.
Put your finger inside the water, and it helps you. It's not anymore sticky. Ah, that's a very nice one.
I think they're just being polite. My best efforts end up about 2 inches too thick.
How long has she been cooking?
10 almost.
10
more or
years?
less, Yeah.
So I guess in about another 9 years, 364 days, I too will be able to make a reasonable looking crepe.
These crepes will be used for one dish, wrapping chicken and onion, and another wrapping spiced coffee grounds with a sprinkle of sugar. By everyday Ethiopian standards, this is a huge feast. There's tibs, that's a sautéed mix of vegetables and beef. There's wat, which is stewed meat and vegetables. And there's lasagna. Italy tried and failed to rule this country in the 1930s, but they did leave a mark on the cuisine.
I like the way it's nice. You have all the different stations set up. All you got to do is build a fire and pile a couple rocks.
They're very indigenous people.
As a matter of fact, this isn't Alifa's house. A friend with a bigger yard offered her the cooking space, and when the food is ready, it's a parade through the streets of Harar to Alifa's dwelling. The amount of food here is unusual, but this kind of communal eating is very typical for Ethiopians.
Wow. This looks fantastic. Wow. I don't know what's more beautiful, the food, the plates, or you guys. You're looking, you look cute. This is awesome.
Since any guest makes lunch a festive occasion, Alifa and her friends have changed their cooking clothes into something that's a little more colorful.
And first, the small kids, they have to bring a water for you and first wash.
In a culture where sharing food is so important, they've developed a strict etiquette all their own.
So are there some rules that I should know before I start eating?
Yeah. Most of the time, you have to eat on right-hand side. And whatever is left on your hand, you don't have to put back to the plate.
Right.
And sometimes if you're eating small amounts, some people start to put in your mouth. This is just helping each other.
Really?
And giving a respect.
Really? In our country, we call it force feeding. Come on in. Dive in there. I guess the first thing I want to do is try, what are these again?
Minta Yusuf. Zuhuk. That's
Zahouk.
Yeah.
That's the crepe, stuffed with chicken and onion.
Good?
Yeah. Oh, very good.
Just get.
Very good. Wow, the zahouk is very nice. You did a nice job on the zahouk.
Now it's time to try some of the wekalim. You remember, the ox intestine with chopped goat innards inside?
What are you laughing at?
Melissa Hui. Oh. Spicy?
No, it's hard to eat. It's chunky and gristly and livery and gamey and old tasting, like it was hanging on that string outside for a very long time. How long does it hang there?
If there is a good sunshine, after they clean it, it can dry with 1 day. If there is no rain, they have to hang it in the kitchen. Then it can dry.
For more than 1 day.
Yeah, more than 1 day.
And you see, this also proves what my wife's theory is, which is that I'm a really bad listener, because right now, I remember Hailey telling me very specifically, what you take, you need to eat and not put back. So now I have to take the rest of this and eat it. Oh my God.
You may remember, Hailu also told me it's a mark of respect when someone feeds you by hand.
Oh, for me? For me?
Yeah.
From you? No, not Oh, very good. Thank you. This is wonderful. I haven't been taken this well care of since I was about 7 months old.
I got to admit, some of the food here is a challenge to eat, but there's no mistaking the good-natured generosity of the people sharing it with me.
The food is exquisite, and I can't thank you enough. Thank you very much. Tell her I got her a little gift.
Okay.
This is a tradition Hailu told me about before lunch. Whenever possible, bring a gift for the hostess.
This is for you.
She says shukran. You can say often.
That is for you. Go ahead, open it.
Oh, give it, Jerry.
Yeah, check it out.
Very nice.
Yeah, oh, wait till you see.
Very nice.
I'm glad you like it. I was told
Shukran.
that a red dress is okay to give to another lady.
Yeah.
Here.
When you're invited to eat in Ethiopia, you never know what the meal might be. But I guarantee you'll never forget the generous hospitality of the people who share it with you.
Coming up next, you drink it every morning, but trust me, when you make it from scratch, you have a much keener appreciation for your morning cup of joe. I'm not screwing this up too bad, am I?
And later, eating raw camel and sharing it with some new friends.
That scared the crap out of me.
Ethiopia is the land where scientists say our earliest known human ancestors walked the earth. In the eastern highlands around the city of Harar, a few hundred miles from where those earliest fossils were discovered, I'm on the trail of another great contribution Ethiopia made to human history.
Ethiopia is the birthplace of mankind, and it's also the birthplace of coffee. They take their coffee very seriously here in Harar, from how it's grown to how it's served.
The story goes, coffee was first discovered here about 1,000 years ago when a goat herder noticed his goats got very frisky after eating red berries like these. Today, coffee is Ethiopia's #1 export. But for people here, it's more than a business, it's also an art form. So with help from my guide, Abdul Ahmed, I'm heading out in search of the perfect cup of coffee from people who've been making it the same way for, about 10 centuries. Here's where it starts. At a family coffee plantation outside Harar. This is how they get the actual beans out of the hard-shelled berries picked off the coffee plants.
You see they already now? It's breaking. You can see the beans now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Getting the bean out of its shell is a process called hulling. And doing it this way takes skill as well as strength.
Can I try?
Yes.
She doesn't trust me. She doesn't trust me.
No,
she doesn't want to. Jeez Louise. Holy moly, you must have some serious pipes.
Okay.
Oh, I promise you, I won't hit your hand. You ready?
Okay, do it. Yeah.
Oh! Yeah, there goes half the year's coffee crop. Yeah, I'm a mess at this. There goes the whole harvest.
Best to leave this job to the professionals. After they crush for a while, the broken bits of the husk are shaken loose and blown away. And then the cycle repeats until there's nothing left but the coffee beans. If these don't look much like the coffee beans you buy, it's because they still need to go through a drying and roasting process. They do have machines for that part of the work, but I'm looking for Ethiopia's very best cup of coffee, and that's the one where everything is done by hand. So my next stop is an Ethiopian coffee ceremony in the city of Harar. The coffee ceremony is at the center of everyday social life here. It can be casual, sometimes very formal, but it always means going to a lot of trouble to get the coffee just right. Zelalem Shifarao works in a local health clinic and is a member of one of Harar's wealthiest families. She's invited Abdul and I to her home for a demonstration of the ritual at its most elaborate.
Hello. Hello.
It starts with the roasting. No machines, just fresh beans over open coals. After the roasting comes the grinding. You guessed it, ground by hand. And then the grounds are mixed directly with boiling water and left to steep until the hostess decides it's time to pour. Making a cup of coffee this way can take up to 3 hours, but no one's in a hurry. The relaxed, easy socializing is as much the point here as making the perfect cup of coffee.
I find it interesting because in our country, getting a cup of coffee is all about speed and how fast you can get it.
Yeah.
And here, getting a cup of coffee is all about taking as much time as possible.
Yeah. This is the traditional way.
Yeah.
At least we get snacks while we wait. Lots of snacks, but no sweets. It's a tray of corn, beans, and chickpeas.
This kind of makes sense because coffee is very acidic and very strong. You got to put some stuff like this in your body first.
Our coffee is very strong, that's why. Yeah.
And here's the most interesting discovery on the snack tray. Popcorn without the corn.
This is outrageous.
It's made from sorghum. The seeds look like corn kernels, but when they pop, whoa, look out. They're smaller, fluffier, without those dry husks that can stick in your throat with regular popcorn.
Dude, this is how you and I are going to get rich. Look at that. In America, we love really big things or really small things. Mini popcorn. This tastes like real, heavily flavored popcorn. Very, very corny popcorn, but it's got a super light finish. This is going to be, I'm telling you right now, this is going to be the next big thing after people see this.
Okay.
The taste is awesome.
But enough with the popcorn. Bring on the coffee. After a long, long wait, it's finally ready.
That's some good coffee. Wow.
She said, "Take you."
That is really, really good. That's just bright, intense coffee flavor on the front part of your mouth. And then when you swallow, it's like someone just shoved a chocolate bar into your nose.
That's the black coffee with the sugar. But for guests who may not like sugar, tradition calls for also serving the coffee with salt and with butter.
Can we try the salty one? That'll be fun. I've never had salt in my coffee.
Yeah?
The smiles all around me should have tipped me off. They knew something I don't. But soon, I will.
Good?
No, it's not good. It's terrible. Who likes coffee with salt in it?
No one, she said.
No one. Nobody likes coffee with salt.
This room, yeah.
It's like strong seawater.
I get the feeling I'm being had, but Abdul keeps a straight face.
The last one with butter, you want to try?
Well, let's do this in advance. Who drinks coffee with butter?
No, it's not the tradition of here. It's a Gurage doing that.
For some people, like the Gurage whose village I visited, coffee with butter is great stuff. But not here in Harar. They're just serving it to see how far I'm willing to go.
It's just the combination. I mean, I've put things into my mouth that no human being should ever try. But this is just so strange. I mean, it scares me. All right, here we go. I'm not even taking any more than that.
Okay.
Ladies, I'm with you. No, this is worse than the salt. That fatty, fermented butter taste. It's like coffee with weak cheese in it. Yeah. Yeah. See, they're laughing at me.
It's been quite a day. I reached my goal of finding what may be the best cup of coffee I've ever tasted, and followed it up with one of the strangest brews I've ever had. But along the way, I got a taste of what really makes drinking coffee in Ethiopia such an event. The way it can bring people together and give them plenty of time to relax and truly enjoy each other's company.
You're the best, really.
Coming up next,
I cannot believe I'm doing this.
eating raw kidney pulled fresh from a camel carcass.
We've now kind of upped the ante quite a bit.
And when night falls, you'll see how we up the ante even higher. I'm from Minnesota. We don't feed hyenas for fun. At the heart of modern Harar is the old city, surrounded by walls built 500 years ago. It's from a time when Harar was an island of Muslim culture in a sea of hostile tribes and warlike Christians. That's why Harar was a forbidden city, closed to all non-Muslims for about 200 years on pain of death. Today, the risk is gone, but the place still feels exotic.
This is a Muslim market.
I've asked local tour guide Hailu Gashaw and his friend Mulugeta to bring me to one of the local butcher shops where I can sample an Ethiopian delicacy: freshly killed raw meat.
Yeah, and I guess that's the sign that tells everybody that the camel meat is fresh today.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah. And you will invite
It doesn't get any fresher than this. Whether it's camel, beef, or goat, they just kill it, slice it up, and start eating. Raw meat eaten this way is called tirasiga. According to legend, Ethiopians started eating tirasiga centuries ago when warriors ate their meat raw because cooking fires might reveal their camp to an enemy.
I'm especially fond of the drying meat over there that's covered in bugs. That's the good stuff.
We'll start with the beef, dipping the pieces in a mix of lemon juice and berbere, the traditional Ethiopian blend of fiery hot spices.
Just like that, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you got a couple things going on here. This meat is fantastic.
Yeah.
The texture and the flavor, it tastes the way beef is supposed to. Really bloody and irony. You know, in our country, they've bred all the flavor and the fat out of the meat. So to taste something like this is just spectacular. This is killer too. Lemon juice and spices, very spicy, very hot.
It's very good.
I also like the fact if you hold onto the meat in your finger long enough, you get a lot of flies on you. Spicy, lemony, beefy, and bloody. And certainly, in a gritty environment, it kind of makes the experience. Oh, that's good.
That's a kidney of camel.
That's camel kidney?
Yeah.
We're gonna eat that?
Yeah.
My God.
This is a camel that was up and walking around just a little while ago, and now its kidneys are warm on the counter in front of me.
So you just take a nice bloody piece of camel kidney,
Yeah.
and then you dip it in the same sauce?
Yeah. Testing it.
I cannot believe I'm doing this. This, you know, in most parts of the world, this would be considered very strange. We've now kind of upped the ante quite a bit. The flies seem to like the camel kidneys more because I can feel them weighing me down. Let me just tell you that the milky, bloody flavor of raw camel kidney is nothing compared to the sound that it makes while you're chewing it. That's crunchy. My gosh. There's only so many bites of this that I can take. God, I hope that's fresh camel.
In a poor country like this, meat is scarce and expensive. This is a rare treat. And one thing I've learned about Ethiopia, anytime there's something good on the table, sharing is taken for granted.
When you go to a butcher shop and you buy meat to eat raw, is it usually part of the custom for the guys that you're buying it from to eat half of it?
Normally in Harar we have a nice hospitality. If you have something, you have to share. That's a life. He's cutting for you and you eat.
I've seen a lot of examples of people in Ethiopia sharing what they have, but I've never seen anything like the way my new friend Mulugeta shares food. After everyone eats, he gathers up the scraps and heads for the edge of town. You may be surprised by who shows up every evening to eat those scraps, and really surprised by how they get served. That's coming up next. Every night at dusk, outside the walls of the Ethiopian city of Harar, a call goes out across the barren wilderness surrounding the town.
Hello! Yagirigit! Nashako shaka! Hiya! Hello! Hey!
It's literally a call of the wild, summoning the hyenas of Harar to a nightly ritual. Tonight, I'm heading outside the city gates along with my guide Hailu to watch the ritual and take part in it. His name is Mulugeta Woldeamariam, but he's known as the Hyena Man. And the ritual is feeding hyenas one by one, up close and very personal.
Oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me.
The ritual I'm seeing began just 40 years ago, but it's said to come from a Harari tradition that's over 800 years old.
They're huge.
They feed every time.
The tradition began as a kind of peace offering to protect the city from potentially dangerous animals. Hyenas can be skillful hunters with powerful jaws capable of crushing bones.
I've never seen a hyena in the wild before in my whole life.
The Hyena Man learned this skill from the man who performed this ritual before him, and he's always willing to encourage newcomers.
You want to try? You want to feed?
Yeah.
We'll put you a piece of meat and you can feed it.
All right. Come here, fella. Come here. There you go. Oh, I like that. I like that. Here you go. There you go. You want that one? That's for you. There you go. Now, first-time hyena feeders should take note. You don't want to get your fingers in there too early in the process.
You've had some.
All right, there. Those are some big teeth. Do they have names?
Yes.
Just as I start to relax around my new friends, Mulugeta ups the ante. The ritual also includes feeding the hyenas mouth to mouth. Sure, guys, go ahead and laugh. Just be gentle about taking that next bite.
There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go.
You, my friend, have bad breath.
Then, Hailu and the hyena man decide to make it more interesting. They break my stick in half.
Well, after a while, the sticks just get smaller. The hyenas get a little more hungry, but the sticks get smaller. All right, buddy, you ready? That scared the crap out of me. Figuratively, not literally. Dude, he was like this far away.
Mulugeta has names for each of his dinner guests, like Tika and Shime. But to me, the teeth all look the same. It's getting crowded out here. Wild hyenas have been known to attack people, but the hyenas of Harar have become peaceful neighbors.
Oh my gosh! Here's what's really funny. That was the meat that I was eating this afternoon. Settle down. Some of these guys have had a lot. He's a pretty animal. I had no idea that they were so. I like these guys. I always used to be afraid of hyenas. Now I've eaten with them.
When the lights go out, the hyenas will enter the town using these openings in the walls created just for them and clear the marketplace of all its garbage by eating it.
So they eat pretty well.
Yes.
The relationship between Harar and its hyenas is one more example of Ethiopian hospitality softening a very harsh life.
Thank you very much. That was an experience. That is for sure. That was fantastic. Maybe tomorrow night we can come back and feed some other animals. What else you got?
Ethiopia is a land of scarcity and hardship, but it's also a place where people will cheerfully give you the food off their plate. The food is distinctive, the coffee is unforgettable, but what's most memorable here is the way Ethiopians make use of what little they have to celebrate their community. And it's a community any visitor is welcome to join.
So remember, when you're in Ethiopia, if it looks good, eat it. Here, let me get a picture of you guys. Oh, you look beautiful. It's a lot of hands and fingers. Say hi to everybody. Hi.
I'm Richmond, and this is a taste of my brand new show, Travel Channel's Man vs. Food. Enjoy. I came all the way to Columbus, Ohio to demolish the Dagwood. To taste victory, I have to take down this 2.5-pound sandwich. It goes from my chin to my hair, plus a pound of fries in under 30 minutes.
This is one of the biggest cold cut sandwiches I've ever seen.
Your time starts now. Eat that flap! Eat that flap! Columbus sandwich.
The Dagwood Challenge. How do I do? Well, you just have to watch and see.
Travel Channel's Man vs. Food starts December 3rd at 10.
Only on the Travel Channel.